So coming to the West market, so from past 3 years, if you can see the analysis of, what are the sales traction which has happened, I think there is a enormous growth of, more than 300% price appreciation has happened here. Do you really think that is this price justified in this different stages of, life cycle of a real estate construction project? So at what stage you feel that it is very critical?
West is a supermarket. I think west of Hyderabad might be one of the top 5 markets in the country. So it's not even in Hyderabad, it's in the country.
The gated community amenities part. If you look at these gated communities, you have 6 stars or 8 stars.
Correct.
With a flat size of more than 2,000 to 3,000 apartments coming in that particular gated community. So but still you have only one swimming pool, one gym.
See, one, I will definitely admit that there will be constraint of resources.
Correct. One more point, coming to the FSI, so there is no limit as such.
Correct.
In this particular areas of Neopolis or Gachibowli or
most
on the
of
west side.
Thing also, when people say, okay boss, high FSI is going to lead to high traffic, right? Bangalore has around, if I'm not wrong, around 3.5 FSI.
Correct.
Hyderabad has 3 FSI, so most people are building around 8. Now you tell me, is Bangalore known for, is Bangalore worse off in traffic or in Hyderabad worse off?
Hi Ajitesh, welcome to Real Talks.
Thank you, Murli. Thank you for having me, and I would say it's a pleasure to meet you and talk to your audience through you. So I'm really excited.
Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers of Real Talks channel?
So Murli, my name is Ajitesh, and I'm the CEO of ASBL. So my education background has been in economics and with a minor in mathematics in a university called Purdue University in the US. So, I did my undergrad in the US, and then I came back and, joined my dad's business called, and their company was called Ashoka Builders in the year 2013, right? So, I mean, one thing was like growing up, I grew up in a real estate family. So most of our lunch, dinner table conversations revolved around some of the site issue or some land issue or some sales issues. This is what I heard growing up. So I was very attuned to, at least some of the jargon of the industry, to put it in perspective.
Got it.
Then after finishing my education, I joined my dad's business, and I wanted to do one project end to end. So from land acquisition time nunchi, I would say until handover. So that I'll know all the aspects of the, business.
Okay.
So I started in 2013, and it took us, in the beginning it was very slow. And because I came back from the US, and things were changing in our nation also at that point of time. So it was very optimistic. But the first 2 years, it just took to get the basic approvals.
Okay.
So several times I used to like literally feel unmotivated, and I was like, did I do a wrong choice with my career? Probably should I go back to the US and do something? But eventually it paid off.
Okay.
So that's how I came into real estate. And another story also, like right from the beginning also, I always had inclination towards delivery. And how can we make sure we are very consistent with delivery? Because like growing up, I've seen the challenges which my father's company faced as they were scaling up. Initially, when they were doing a lot of 5-floor buildings and all of that sort of neighborhood buildings, they were doing good business.
Okay.
Once the scale up happened, so Hyderabad started doing this large format developments like gated community around 2006, 2007 onwards is when it started.
Correct.
And a lot of prior companies were facing a lot of challenges because of the scale issues. And most of those challenges were around delivery.
Got it.
So I knew these problems. I used to intern in my dad's company during my summer days. So I knew these challenges. So right from the beginning, I wanted to solve these issues.
Okay.
But then again, the only way to solve that is the only way to solve a problem is you need to jump into it.
Okay,
there's no way that I can sit outside and think, oh, this will be the solution. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
So that's how we started, and then I keep saying this punchline that intentions are not sufficient. We need intelligence.
Got it. That's well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a little bit about me. So that's how I started my career.
Okay,
And
so-
I did my first project, Ashoka Liviano, under my dad's company.
Oh, nice.
And then in 2017, I forged a very good relationship with the landowner there, Anilani.
Okay.
So me and he became good friends, and then we set up ASBL in the year 2017.
Wow.
And we were lucky; the markets were very good. So we were somebody who set sail when the tide was high.
Got it.
So and then and all the research which we did in terms of delivery and all also started paying rich dividends. So we are able to hand over our people on time. And now I feel we need to take it a notch above.
Nice. So Ajitesh, how many projects you have completed in ASBL?
So Murli, under the ASBL banner, we have done around 5 projects.
Okay.
The first one, ASBL Lakeside. That's in Kajagoda area.
Okay.
And that's around 400 apartments, and that's handed over in the year 2021. We started work in 2018 and we handed over in 2021.
Got it.
Currently we are under production in 4 sites. ASBL Spire, which is in Kokapet.
Okay.
It's around G plus 36 story tower.
Okay.
4 basements and 36 story tower. That's almost close to handover. We are around a couple of months away from handover. And then we are doing ASBL Spectra in Financial District. That's around again 40 floor towers. So that's I would say around 50% done. So that is handover in another 2 years, December 2025.
Got it.
And then we have recently launched another project called ASBL Loft, that too in Financial District.
Okay.
So that we have just broken ground. So that's in handover in 2026. And then all these projects are on the west of Hyderabad.
West of Hyderabad.
And then we are doing one other project on the east of Hyderabad called ASBL Springs. That's again around close to 500 apartments, and that's another year from handover.
So I think you are the one of the rarest builders who are stepping into the east side of the Hyderabad, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I think the East offered a very good value proposition. One, there was a very good push from the government that they want to disperse growth, which was predominantly happening on the west. They want to push it to all other sides of the city.
Okay.
So there's a lot of infra push. Like flyovers are being made. Recently, we have seen walkway being done at the Uppal crossroads.
Absolutely.
Metro connectivity is there. So there's a lot of infra push that side. And second, again in the east, we sort of saw the opportunity where we could, the early mover advantage. Where east maybe we are one of the first gated community. So we'll be the early mover, with regarding to the gated community lifestyle, which we can take it to the people there. So that way we saw a good opportunity, and we are one of the prominent players now in east of Hyderabad. So predominantly we are focusing on east and west. Okay. So that's how I would like to put it.
Got it. So coming to the sales traction, so if you compare with the west side of the projects and the east side of the projects, so what response you are getting in terms of sales perspective?
See, from sales perspective, undoubtedly the West is a fast-moving market.
Okay.
Right? There's a lot of buyer interest in the West, not only from people who are staying within Hyderabad, but even people, NRIs, be it NRIs from different countries, or even another interesting trend, what we're seeing, even people who are staying in Bangalore, Bombay, other cities, but want to invest in Hyderabad. So there's everybody do it only in the West. So West is undoubtedly the biggest market, and the traction is also very strong.
Yeah.
The East, I would say, is a rising market. So by that what I mean is, one, definitely the sales are now improving, but still I feel the real boost will come once certain communities are handed over. See, today what's happening, the concept of gated community in East is a notional idea. It's only in the imagery what we show and all. Nobody has really lived in a gated community to see what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, what are the problems and everything, and what are the huge benefits. So once that happens, right, then there will be a huge traction of buyers who will shift, because you see in East, I would like to point out, especially suburbs of Uppal, like Bod Uppal, Pirzadiguda, it's a very densely populated area, right? But there are a lot of 5-floor buildings, neighborhood buildings, what we call.
Correct.
So neighborhood buildings, there are a lot of problems with respect to amenities or basic living also, like maintenance, security, all of these things.
Correct.
So once people see the advantages of a gated community, a huge shift will happen.
Got it.
So I would say we are in that process. So after we started project, 2-3 other developers also have launched their projects. So, by a span of maybe another couple of years, there might be around 1,000-1,500 handovers cumulatively in that area, and people will start living and start seeing the flavor of it.
Absolutely.
And that's when the big jump is going to happen.
So there will be a great advantage being a first mover.
Yeah.
On the eastern
that's
side.
the saying, right? Being first, early bird gets the worm. So that's the thing. So I hope that saying is true in this case as well.
Correct.
So that's with the east. So west is a supermarket. I think west of Hyderabad might be one of the top 5 markets in the country. So it's not even in Hyderabad, it's in the country. So one, it offers unparalleled lifestyle, right? For example, keep it as from transportation perspective, there are a lot more flyovers here. Metro is also going to be expanded further in this area, and the security is very good in this area. Like throughout Hyderabad, the security is very good, but here also it's equally good. These are the basic requirements of a consumer. The advanced requirements are your social infrastructure. Okay, what are there malls where I can go and entertain myself?
Absolutely.
Are there like any parks or that sort of space? Are there more very very important thing, F&B? F&B is a very very important aspect of urban life.
Correct.
Like if you look at, there's a thing right in New York, I'll just divulge here and add a point. In New York, right, there are so many restaurants that somebody, if they eat all their 3 meals in a restaurant, right from the day they are born to the day they die, they'll still not finish all the restaurants in New York. Those many restaurants in New York.
Got it, yeah.
So, and New York is one of the greatest urban center in the world currently, right? New York is one of the city which is revered. So F&B is usually available in this west compared to other sides of this. So the west is offering unparalleled lifestyle quotient. That is why there's huge demand on the west. And I think it should be one of the top 5 markets in the country if my numbers are right. So that's how we are saying. East has a room to grow. So definitely, I think, of course, it will not come up to the level of west, but it will grow to a much, much better than what it is today. It's just a matter of time.
Got it. So coming to the west market, so from past 3 years, if you can see the analysis of, what are the sales traction which has happened, I think there is a enormous growth of, more than 300% price appreciation has happened here. Do you really think that is this price justified in this west side?
Yes. See, with respect to price, I must even say it's a consequence of things. It won't be just one thing. See, fundamentally in the west, 2 things have happened. Correct. One, the price has appreciated because a lot of large format residential spaces were being sold. Like typical sizes, if they're 1500, West Lamir average size, I'm pretty sure Pupalgura core financial district, it's around 4,000 square feet. So naturally, a 4,000 square feet buyer, his appetite on pricing will be slightly higher.
Correct.
And next, there was a huge, post-pandemic, you can see this change not over in west of Hyderabad, but anywhere in the world, where housing prices shot up like anything, because there was a sudden demand. That too, why? Because people were staying indoor all the while during COVID, and then they suddenly realized the need for more space. See, anything, right? Any resource we use more, we would want to use more of it. Like we use the phone more, then you want to upgrade to a better phone.
Correct.
Right? Maybe people, if they stop, if there's more traffic and they feel like I don't want to use the car, naturally they'll start downgrading on it. So like that, housing became lucky in that sense. So people were staying indoors, so they used housing product a lot more.
Correct.
Hence there was more requirement of space. Hence, the large format development started coming. Once the large format development started coming, west was the area where the large format developments came, and then that's how the prices also increased. And at the same time, not only that, even the input cost factor also we need to check. Like prices of land, you have seen recently auctions and all, how the prices have hit sky high. And even input cost, you look at the price of steel a few years back versus now, everything like fabrication and everything. So there is a rise in input cost. There is rise, user requirements are also changing, and even the the affordability is also increasing to probably certain section of the consumers. So all of this is contributing to the rise. And again, this is nothing in isolation. This has happened world over.
Absolutely.
Right, all the major cities in the world have seen that. So that's what is my opinion on that.
Do you really think west market is still affordable?
It is Murli, because
compared to other metropolitan cities.
It is, see, like what is the aggregate price in the core west market, that is financial district, around 10,000 rupees. So Bangalore, if you look, what is the core area, I think it's called Whitefield.
Correct.
Whitefield and all runs around 12 to 15,000. So 10,000 in a urban center is fairly normal price. Of course, because see, this change has happened very quickly in Hyderabad.
Correct.
Like Bangalore, if you look, Whitefield area was selling at 4,000, 5,000 in the year around 2014-15, and now it's selling at 12 to 15,000. In Hyderabad, there was a lot of latency from almost 2009 to 2016. The market didn't move at all. So all that latency, started, unfolding, and that's why we saw the rise in price in a short span of time. But if you look at any urban center like Whitefield and probably all those areas, we are still lesser than them by 20%.
Got it.
So I see there is room. And see, again, my opinion also for real estate is not, one is yes, one has to see from investment and that standpoint and see whether how it fits their budgets and their scope of appreciation. But one even has to see from the scope of consumer. Like, you know, okay, how do you tangibly assign value to living?
Correct.
Right, so it's a mixture of all of that. How do you value a place which has 10 eateries and 10 schools versus a place which has 5 eateries and 2 schools? It's very jiffy. I mean, you know, it's very iffy, and you know, there's no quantitative way of doing it.
Absolutely.
So, and I would even say one reason why prices are also going up is the demand is huge.
Yeah.
So demand is high, and then the prices will. I mean, it's a universally known economic theory, right? The more demand will lead to more prices. So that's how.
Got it. So, coming back to ASBL again, so what's your mission and vision of ASBL according to you?
See, we take great, at least personally for me, I want to really build cities one day. I mean, of course, that's a long-term vision.
Yeah.
And that's, I would say that's a mission. The vision is I would really want to give, you know, the citizens of our country enormous lifestyle, globally, globally comparable lifestyles. Or I would say we should be able to see, as a developer, what is our value add? Our product or our service is a lifestyle, right? So we want to give the world-class lifestyle to our citizens. So that's our that's our vision, and the mission is we want to build cities which in line with our vision. So that's how I would put it, you know. And in that line, we have taken several baby steps. Okay. And again, this is I would say a 50-year roadmap.
Yeah.
In which half of the time I might serve. After that, there'll be a change in leadership because I might become old.
Successor.
Successor, yeah. But so that's the long-term game what we are going after, and we have to take one small step at a time. Yeah. So in that line, we have developed a lot of. See, that's where I feel we have to take it step by step. So first and foremost, our focus was on delivery. Because when I started my career, when I was talking with multiple customers and I was generally meeting around people, the biggest concern is around delivery for anybody. Because you see, house is no cheap buy, right? It's a very costly affair, right? People are shelling down at least 20 years of their commitment and their income on house. So it's a very major affair. So when I spoke with many people, a lot of people had anxiety towards that. Okay, what if it doesn't get delivered on time?
Correct.
Right, and these are very legitimate questions. So that's when I realized that fundamentally we need to offer customers safety, because any major investment ke liye, safety is the foundation of such a relationship, such a transaction. So in the case of housing, what is the safety you're going to give? That you're going to hand over on time. The structures and all are safe for anybody because they're all designed with state-of-the-art codes and all. But delivery, so delivery is the most important. Let's say your delivery is delayed by a few years. A person will end up losing his entire earning period. He'll end up losing his sweat and hard-earned money, right? So he'll end up losing all of this. So we realize that safety in line of delivery is the most important thing. And in that line, we have done major research and major, I would say, innovation in the lines of developing technology to make sure we deliver on time. So that's when we started our sister concern in Circles. They develop our technology, and I've done in several podcasts also. I've shown our technology to our customers and how it's helping us in propelling further, right, and giving the products on time. So that's our key agenda. Now I feel we have reached a reasonable level in that, where the technology is also stable, and I would say 60-70% of the major problems we have solved. I can never say we'll say and solved 100% problem, because there'll always be something new or the other. But I would say we're reasonably stable there.
Can you highlight some critical problems that you have solved? One or two problems?
Sure, Murli. I think, one of the most important problem on site, when do sites get delayed? They get delayed predominantly on two issues. One, the developer is unable to manage his fund flow, right? Second, the site has a deficit of labor supply is low.
Absolutely.
So both these dimensions we attacked. One, how do we solve the fund flow problem? So we are one of the few developers who significantly work with banking partners. See, most of the time, when the developer gets a project, they don't do a complete financial closure. Okay, this project is going to cost me 100 rupees. If my land is going to cost me 20 rupees, construction is going to cost me another 50 rupees, salaries are going to cost. They don't do this, and how am I going to finance this? Correct. How much is my equity? What is the gap? How much of that gap is going to be funded by the banker, and what is the arrangement? So one thing, every project before we take it, we do a financial closure.
Yeah.
So we have a deep relationship with top banks, banks and NBFCs, and we work with them. So unless we do financial closure, we don't enter into it. So at least from the buyer perspective, oh, he's going to drive purely on sales. What if sales stops, the construction goes? That problem wouldn't be there, because the fund is coming from the bank and we're building. What the buyers say, whatever money comes, it goes back and pays back the fund, right? So that problem we solved. Second thing, where particularly we require technology was how do you maintain labor surplus? Now, just by calling the contractor 10 times, he's not going to increase the laborer. Who will do that? Nobody will do that. So what we thought was, okay, now if the contractor has to improve labor supply, then he needs to earn more bottom line, more profit with us. So now to improve profit, there are two ways. One is the cost side, matlab you give him more price. Other is you improve more productivity.
Got it.
The more innovations required in productivity, that's where technology comes. Like I'll give you a use case in this. So day-to-day insights, like how construction sites are handled, is day-to-day the project manager and the tower in charges and all of them, they allocate work to laborers, gangs of laborers. Okay, boss, you 5 people, there'll be shuttering gang of 50 people, you go and do shuttering work at so-and-so flat and so-and-so basement. Somebody is a tile contractor, you go and do so-and-so locations. You do in 5th flat, you do in 10th flat and all of that, right? So, and this with the current human layer, it's 30% efficient only. Like imagine what happens if the project manager is not there that day. Absolutely. Or he has just gone for his rounds and he's going to come back after an hour. All these people are going to lie idle. If these people are lying idle, the contractor has to still pay them. Because contractor pays them on hourly wages, whereas we pay the contractor on completion of work, not hourly wages.
Got it.
So if contractor is able to complete more work with them in that time, more bottom line is going to earn. So today with the robust virtual digital twin what we have created, this fundamental
workforce
activity is being done by the AI.
Okay.
It's no longer done by our humans, no longer done by our project managers, no longer done by our managers. Our AI simply basis of the virtual twin what we have created, right? It collates all the information and it allocates this work to the laborers. That also in a very simple format. It extracts where all they can do work and WhatsApps them in a very simple, understandable language. It's a color system. So that's how we are able to improve the productivity. And second thing also, another important point what we have seen, Murli, is quality, because it's not just delivery, right? It's not just progress. You need to even handle quality. So coming to the impacts of technology in quality also, because quality is again a very major thing, right? So because of the technology, the virtual twin what we could develop, we started fragmenting. See quality, the minute we talk about quality, it becomes very qualitative. Very subjective.
Correct.
For somebody something can be good, and anything which is very subjective and qualitative, we can't really improve it, right? Because it runs more on feelings.
Correct.
So because of the technology what we have, and again the data what we could do, we could make an equation when it comes to quality. Okay, let's say 30% of quality is because of your design. Let's say you're giving a very complicated design to execute. Naturally, there are going to be more issues, how much ever supervision you do. Correct. So ease up your design process. Right, then I would say 50% of your, I would say another 30% of your quality is materials. You've got a good design and you're using poor materials. What happens? Our finish is going to look bad. And then another 40% of quality is supervision. So by understanding it in such a fragmented and a componentized manner, we are able to attack quality on 3 perspectives. One, make a simplified design, because anything, ultimately the design is going to be executed by laborers.
Correct.
If it's not understandable or if it's too difficult, they're going to end up making more mistakes. Absolutely. Next, start standardizing materials. What are the materials, and because let's not experiment too much. One material is good for something, let's stick with that. Again, for that, the virtual twin, like for example, let's say in one project, we worked with one vendor and the material is and let's say is good, right? All the projects can we replicate that. Correct. Like I'll tell you an example. In one of our project, after we put the door stoppers, there was some rusting on the door stopper.
Okay.
It's a very small thing, but our quality team caught it, and they took a snap of it. So then we removed that door stopper, we put a new one, and immediately what we did, because of this virtual twin technology what we have developed, we could trace back who is the vendor, what is the material, what is specification. We banned it all across the sites.
Got it.
Typically something like this doesn't happen because it's captured at the site, and you remove and put it. But what about other sites if you put up the same material?
Correct.
So, and the purchase guy is a different guy. Correct. The quality guy is a different guy. The engineer is a different guy. The purchase is done probably a year before. The execution is happening a year after. Quality check is happening 15 months after. How will this information flow?
Correct.
So that's the role of technology. So technology means once you do a mistake, or once you can avoid that doing all across your sites. Once you identify the best practice, you can implement it immediately to all your sites, like in the case of a door stopper.
Correct.
And second, with more and more data, right?
Yeah.
You are able to identify best practices, right? You're going to say, okay, boss, when I'm executing in a so and so structure, these are the typical issues I'm getting bulging here. Okay, then I'll tell this to my designer right in the beginning. I'll tell them that, boss, give more supports here because it's going to bulge. So that's the thing, because see, in construction the data is not there, hence the improvise. See, only when we have data can we have intelligence. If there's no, I would say, if there's no way of collecting data, then we keep doing the same mistake again and again. That's how we'll go one step forward and one step backward. End of the day, we'll stay there. So using the virtual twin, we are able to approach, solve the problem in a three-pronged manner. And again, supervision care. So using our app, right, our quality inspectors go and check everything and upload the photos if there's a quality, and the ticket is followed on until it's closed.
Oh, nice.
Right. And another thing also, Murli, I would like to cite in, like regarding supervision. See, in construction there are certain problems. How it will be, let's say some mistake has happened, right, and the quality guy has gone and identified that. For 50% of the issues, you need to close it then and there. Matlab in 2-3 days time, you rectify it.
Correct.
Another 50% of the issues you won't remember. You have to take 3 years to close. Like for example, let's say we are executing a 40-floor tower.
Correct.
On the outer side of your 20th floor, let's say 20th floor, you're executing. On the outer side of the wall, somebody forgot to pack.
Okay.
Right? And it's been identified. And once the Maiwan shuttering is lifted and the platform staging is done, only then they can go and check.
Correct.
They'll check they'll peep out from the window and check. And somebody has not done the packing. You cannot rectify it then.
Correct.
You have to wait and rectify when you're doing external painting.
Absolutely.
Which will be 1.5 years down the line.
Correct.
So only when you have technology will you know that. Technology now, using our complex digital twin, it knows that these issues, when it should solve them. It's not like only I have a issue tracker where it's measuring issues. It is smart enough to when I should even resolve these issues.
Got it.
So when I'm doing external painting, which will be 3 months or 4 months before handover, I'll go and finish it then, because only then it can be done. Typically what happens, this issue gets forgotten.
Yeah.
So that's the power of technology. So that's how we have developed it to handle both improve labor productivity, so that we are going to have labor surplus, and measure a lot of data points with respect to how things should be done. That is like the quality inspection data is all in the system, so that you can identify best practice and you can close issues as and when they arrive and as and when they're supposed to be closed.
So coming to the different stages of life cycle of a real estate construction project. So at what stage you feel that it is very critical? Stage, like as per you.
See, I would say, criticality, I will say there are different point of views. See, from a financial perspective, I would say it's more critical in finishes. Okay. I'll tell you why. Because real estate is one field where, if you look at the cash flows and all that, right, typically, I would say during the RCC stage, right, there is a 30% outflow of money, 50% receivable of money.
Got it.
Once you're done with RCC and you start the finishes, there is 70% outflow of money, only 50% receivable of money. So people tend to mismanage this very simple concept.
Correct.
Okay, I every month I'm billing 3 crore rupees, I'm getting 5 crore rupees, good, I'm getting 2 crore profit, and they might use it elsewhere. Right? But that's not true, because after in the second half of the project, once we are done with RCC works, it's the other way around. You'll be getting 3 crores of inflows and you'll get 7 crores of expenditure. So from a financial perspective, purely I would say the finishes is the more crucial element. But from the element of handing over a project on time, I would say it's the RCC works, which is a very, very important, because RCC is the mother activity. Only if I cast my slab, can I do brickwork or can I do flooring? I can start all other activities. Correct. So I would say from different points of view, different things become important. But overall, if you ask me, the complexity goes up in the second half of the project. That is once we start finishes, because then you're working with almost all 70-80 different categories of laborers. Okay. Somebody specialized in fabrication, somebody specialized in concreting, shuttering, flooring, and all of that. So to manage them at scale, it becomes more complex. So that way, and most projects also, if you look, typically they tend to miss the schedule in the second half. That is, once the finishes start, it becomes more complicated to manage. Luckily for us, the technology usually solves for that problem.
Okay. So coming to the built-up area, so specifically to the built-up area, so what are the key differentiators from the ASBL point of view? So that you identify and you incorporate in your design.
Got it. See, Murli, when we started, as I've mentioned, so we focused a lot on our ability to deliver. right, on time and with great quality. Now that we have achieved that to some extent, of course there will be improvisations always. Now we are going to the element of research driven design. Like for example, if you look post pandemic, a lot of our people working in the services sector especially are exposed to some format of hybrid work, right?
Correct.
Work from home, what they are calling.
Correct.
Either somebody is doing weekly 2 days, 3 days working from home, and 2 days, 3 days they're going to office. So then we realize that, okay, boss, this is happening. How do we solve for this problem? One way which people have solved is, okay, let's increase the floor plate size. Let's say 2000 square feet apartment, let's make 2300 square feet. 300 square feet space additionally we'll give them, and then people can use it for their work from home thing. Now my problem with such an approach is it's too costly. 300 square feet more in financial district is approximately 30 lakhs more.
Correct.
And second thing, when you are working in isolation, right? See, definitely working from home has a convenience with regarding it saves up on your travel time. But at the same time, the con side of it is you're working in isolation, you're just working with yourself. Generally in our work environment, you see, humans are social creatures, right? In our day-to-day life, when we work out of our office, we meet different people, we just chit-chat, we go for a cigarette break, and all sort of activities happen.
Correct.
Now, this is becoming a big pain point in that, right? So then we came up with, okay, then that should not be the case. One, it's costing somebody 30 lakhs more, right? Thereby reducing the affordability. Second, such style of work is also not usually going to help people because they're being very drained of the social interactions.
Correct.
So we started designing, okay, why don't we develop a co-working space within the community?
Within the community.
Within the community. Wow. So and that too as good as something like a WeWork or something where it'll look, it's like a proper full-fledged co-working space, not like workstations, not just workstations. And it has got workstations, it has got all your stationery requirements. One of the major thing of our office we don't realize is the printing and stationery requirements.
Correct.
It's got all that. It's got meeting rooms.
Okay.
Where people can book that space using our app and probably interact with it. And then, you can work flexibly. See, let me share a story with you in line. Recently, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they were living in the US and they now shifted to India. And they're working for the US clients. So their work hours are from 2 in the afternoon to probably 12 in the night. And it's been 3 months, they're working out of their home and they're being very frustrated about boss, every day I'm in the home.
Correct.
Okay, I told you, why don't you go and work from some co-working space? But no co-working space, if it's a single workstation, be it WeWork or and all, they don't give you a flexible timing. If you are only taking one workstation, you have to do in 9 to 8 or some time limitation is there. You can't do flexible.
Hours is not there.
So you see how much of a lifestyle problem they're having.
Correct.
So that's where we are coming towards. We are coming to the point that, boss, identify somebody's lifestyle.
Yes.
Just like any technology developer does. Like for example, when Apple or Google develop the software, they first identify who the stakeholder is and then then conduct user interviews, focus group studies, dipstick surveys, get detailed into it and then come up with, okay, this is a requirement, hence my product should solve for this. So imagine the same approach in housing design.
Wow, nice.
Right? So I keep telling our people that, boss, we treat us like a hardware people.
Okay.
Right? We are hardware designers. Just like how probably IBM or maybe, Apple, they design your laptops and all, we design the space. So we need to have a very concrete understanding of what is the lifestyle of our customer and what solutions we can offer to him. So that research-led planning I feel is the key differentiating factor of ASBL going into the future. Right? And just for this, to develop further in this, we have developed a dedicated website called udesign.com. Where all our customers, not just our customers, all interested people can go and share their opinion of, okay, I want a bigger living room or I want so and so thing or so and so thing, and we collect all of that and we design on the basis of that. Another story also let me share.
So is this introduced in one of your gated communities?
Yes,
now?
in a recent one, ASBL Loft, we have introduced this. And going forward, we feel this is the most basic requirement, just like how swimming pool is.
Wow, nice.
Same thing as a co-working space.
I think this is only ASBL is doing this in Hyderabad.
Good for us.
Sorry, I cut you. Actually, you were saying about the second story.
Yeah, I'll tell another story. See, the one key advantage when gated communities were born, right? Before that, there were neighborhood buildings. When I was growing up, we stayed in a neighborhood apartment. a 5-floor type apartment. So by the time the month used to end, I used to see my mother have a full kata for gas cylinders. Because 20 years in the past, there was a big challenge in getting gas cylinders. You had to be very proactive.
Correct.
Suddenly, some relatives came to your house in that month, and the cylinder is over, like much earlier than anticipated.
Got it.
And my mother used to borrow the cylinder from the neighbor, sometimes the neighbor from us. So every month end comes the cylinder. There was a balance sheet of cylinders going on, right? So this was a lifestyle challenge.
Correct.
What do the gated communities do? In gated communities, there's centralized piped gas. So like modern, like me and my wife, for us the cylinder problem is never exists. We don't even know now, like we find the concept very alien that okay, somebody has to order cylinders and all, because we're not exposed to that. So it brought in that convenience in our life.
Absolutely.
Like that, can gated community as a product go much further than that? Right? Not only your basic, not only your, I would say your foundation, utilitarian side like gas and water and this sort of thing, but even qualitative life, like working from home. And the major aspect is childcare, Murli, because we don't realize that. Let me cite a data point. 72% of our customers are both wife and husband are working.
Correct.
And they are in the 30 to 35 age group. So if they're in 30 to 35 age group, I'm pretty sure they'll have a 0 to 3 year aged kid.
Correct.
So when we conducted survey, we spoke with 400 people in that, like, okay, boss, how do you manage the childcare? So most people told, in the current format, they take help from their family, and very few people, probably go to a creche service. And most of the cases, one of the parent, mostly the mother, is taking a step back in her career for a few years so that she can really focus on childcare. So can we solve for this problem?
Yep.
Right? That is when we came up with the idea. Then we dug deep into that problem. Okay, we spoke with several of our consumers, especially women, and then they only mentioned as one key problem, boss. Then we asked the creches wider. So one of the problem with creches is they provide service from, let's say, 10 in the morning to 2 or 3 at max. But we come off from work only at 6 or 7.
Correct.
So we need creche services, flexible timings up to 7 or 8 in the evening, because that's how our work life permits, right?
Correct.
So that's how we wanted to, then provide a solution in a manner where there's a flexible timing, where creche service is not only up to 2 or 3, but up to 7 or 8 in the evening. Then how do you engage the kid? So all of this, when we did research, then we realized that, okay, creche is we can't just be giving a space and leaving. Right? We have to really bring in very good service provider. Then when we went and spoke with one of the good service providers in the city, then they told, boss, these are my space requirements. Currently, whatever space generally people give is only 1/3 the requirement we need. So that made us relook the entire concept. And for example, in one project loft, we are giving close to 5,000 square feet of covered space. Right? And as simple things as if in a creche, your potties should be baby size, not adult sized. All of these details, because ultimately the baby uses it.
Correct. Absolutely.
And when we spoke with the creche service provider, he was telling they need napping cots because babies sleep in at several intervals. So only when we are able to give a very tailor-made, consistent service to our customers will that problem be solved. We realize that as a developer, I'm just giving space and I'm saying, oh, I'm giving creche in my brochure and I'm going away. It doesn't solve the lifestyle problem. There needs to be a service provider who is going to come and operate the business. Correct. And provide value to the customers. So now we are working in that line. We are partnering with various service providers, and so that the service is delivered to the customer at the last mile. So that I think another point also I would like to cite, Murli. When gated community started, right, in 2008, at that time, it was averagely costing around 3,000 rupees per SFT. Correct. And then by the time the delivery problem became very important, it was costing around 6,000 rupees per SFT. Today at 10,000 rupees per SFT, the buyer is going to ask more. It's not sufficient that we tell the buyer, I'm giving you handover on time with great quality. It's not sufficient, boss. Correct. People are paying more. They should ask more, and I feel they should ask more. I mean, It's totally their right, and that's how we'll also get pushed. Correct. And I think that asking more is all this lifestyle quotient. And how are you solving for that problem? So today, I feel the next 7 to 10 years of real estate is all around customer experience. It's not just around delivery. I think, another data I would like to point, in phase 1 of gated communities, that is from 2008 to around 2013-14, in that 5 years, the average delivery of gated communities on time was only around 20-25% of the projects were delivered on time. Correct. Now that figure has reached close to 65-70%. 2/3 of your communities are getting delivered on time. So eventually this problem is being solved by the industry. Absolutely. The next problem is customer experience. So how do I solve for the customer's lifestyle problems? Right? How do I it's like this ease of living, what we call. Like in US, when I talk with my friends, when they drive a Tesla car, right? My friend, he was telling, boss, I'm eating while I'm going to my office because the car drives itself. And he was telling, hence, I will not go to any car which does not offer me full self-driving, because that means I have to wake up half an hour earlier. So can we create that for our customers? Can it be living in ASBL community is going to be far more easier than living in other communities? This is going to be the new competitive advantage. So I think that's the advantage of, of how the market is going forward. So people are going to compete hard for the customer, and in this the customer will end up winning. And I think that's good for us, good for all.
Okay, so you have solved the problem of, the families, the couples who are working, from home.
Correct.
By creating a space, and also for the childcare you have taken care of it. So while designing the home, like the built-up area for each room, like for example for the master bedroom or a children bedroom or a hall or a kitchen. So any specific points that you will focus on, to create a different kind of an easiness.
See,
from the
one thing one example I'll cite in this point is we were the first developer to introduce a concept of outdoor living in the city. Right? This we did even before the pandemic, actually. Though the project was launched after pandemic, but we did the design and concept was in 2019. The pandemic came in 2020. So our idea was, boss, see, these days they are all tall structures, 30 floors, 40 floors. If you look, one of the advantage of your neighborhood buildings is they're all 4 floors, 5 floors.
Correct.
So sitting in your living room, you can see some plantation outside, because trees grow up to 30, 40 feet.
Got it.
But no tree grows above that.
Absolutely.
So our idea was, okay, sitting in living room, can somebody experience a tree? Right, so that's how we came up with the concept of outdoor living. So we studied all the balconies and all. We realized that, okay, in our context in the city, balconies are just being very linear strips of space. Right, they're all 6 feet, 5 to 6 feet width and maybe 20 feet in length. That doesn't work out. So we came up with a room-like experience where we increase the width from 6 to almost 9 to 10 feet. So it becomes more squarish, more room-like, and we are giving with a planter box with 2 feet soil depth. So you can grow a tree which can grow up to 6 to 7 feet with a automatic water inlet outlet point, waterproofing, everything. So the idea was to bring the tree into the house. Not, because the challenge has changed, right? Today you can't build 5 floors. You can't buy land in Kokapet and build 5 floors. It won't work.
Absolutely.
You have to build 40 floors.
Yeah.
Then how do you get people still closer to vegetation? This was one way how we did it. Okay. And then we started, then we realized, then the pandemic time when we spoke with our customers, they were like, oh, this is nice space. I would want to work from this space. Then we came up with a laptop charger point, because you're working out of the balcony, you need a laptop charger point, you need a fan point.
Correct.
So it's all those improvisations. So it's about thinking the last mile, how the user is going to live there. It's not about just selling, because I think I would even say, see, gone are the days where one can only sell square footage. It's done. It's done for good, I would say.
It's all about experience.
It's all about experience. It's all about the last mile problem and how you're going to solve it. It's all about that superior lifestyle which you're going to offer. So the outdoor living we were the first people to implement that design, and now you see a lot of people are increasing the balcony size. In fact, the projects which are doing very good have very big balcony. Right, so we were the people who brought it to the city design.
Wow.
So that gives us great matter of pride, and again that helped us hugely in our sales.
Got it.
Right, so it was our key selling aspect. So that was, and yes, now these days we are doing further more research. Like for example, recently in our research we found out that in a 2,000 square feet flat, if you're not giving a dress, then the bathroom needs to have a close to 4.5 to 5 feet counter space. Why? Okay. Because the lady of the house puts all her makeup kit and all of that there. So we want to go to that level detail.
Got it.
Because once you built it and you didn't provision for this use case, then imagine the sort of hindrances which it will cost our customers' day-to-day lives.
Got it.
Again, having said that, there are several such areas which we also have to proactively find out and implement in our designs, and there'll always be iteration. There won't be any product where I can say, boss, 100% this is best in design.
Correct.
We can reach up to 90%. The improvisation will be for the next project.
Correct. And even I have one more question on the gated community amenities part. If you look at these gated communities, you have 6 stars or 8 stars.
Correct.
With a flat size of more than 2,000 to 3,000 apartments coming in that particular gated community. So but still you have only one swimming pool, one gym, and one fitness center or something like that. So will this crowd can be accommodated within that small? It's just one slot You know,
Got it.
you can imagine the crowd that is going to come up during the free time, like
Got
evenings and all. So how will they avail that facilities?
See, one, I will definitely admit that there will be constraint of resources.
Correct.
Because we can't say that okay, the 2,000 apartments, and then we are going to give a lot more, probably shuttle courts. Let's say we need 10 shuttle courts,
Correct.
and there won't be that much space.
Yes.
Because one needs to understand this from the entire industry structure standpoint, right? So it's very easy to say, oh boss, developers are greedy, they don't want to build it. That's not the case. Because what happens is, okay, if let's say we are purchasing a land in financial district, it doesn't cost anywhere less than 60 to 70 crores. So if it's 60 to 70 crores we are putting to buy a land, then we have to build around 150 to 200 apartments per acre. Yeah. So there will be constraint in resources. Now, having said that, with better research, one can plan better. Correct. Like for example, let me cite some examples. So when we did research with our customers, we realized that there were quite a few spaces and amenities which they're not using at all. Like for example, the library. Or like for example, the indoor play game areas where huge spaces are given and people are not using. So cut down on that. And we realized that the gym space can be used more. So naturally, when you're going to cut down something, you're going to save up the space, you're going to use it effectively. Correct. So like for example, in our project Spectra, we are giving the one of the biggest gym in the city, close to around again 4,500 square feet. Oh, nice. That's as big as any commercial gym out there. Mm-hmm. Right? I think in square footage it might be second or third biggest, even with respect to commercial gyms. Mm-hmm. So why? Because we again cut down from certain spaces. Correct. So one has to study the consumer's lifestyle, see what is it that they need, what is it that they don't need, and plan for that. Mm-hmm. Like again, you can take something like the creche. Typically people give in most communities around 1,500 square feet. Antenduku, even in the top IT offices, they are giving 1,000, 2,000 square feet. Right, we are the first people who at 900 apartments, we are giving 5,000 square feet of covered and another 12,000 square feet of open space attached to it. Got it. So you need to carefully see, naturally resource constraints will make us plan better. We have to. If we don't, we'll end up losing the game. So I would see it that way, right? So that way you can ease out. Like for example, in some of the bigger communities which have 2,000 apartments and which are delivered, they have 3 shuttle courts. In Loft, we realize that shuttle court is a very important thing. In 900 apartments, we are giving 3 shuttle courts. Got it. So you're making the ratio better. Correct. Now, does this mean that every customer at every point of time there'll be a court available? I don't think so. Yeah. But 80% of the time it will be available. Got it. Corresponding to our competitor for whom it might be 50%, we are at 80%, I would say. Got it. So that's how we would like to see with respect to these amenities.
Have you developed any app which accommodates this kind of a booking of a slot? Yes, for these kind of amenities.
Currently, we are in the process, and in our project ASBL Spire, this would be used also. So we'll be getting real-time information of how the app functions and everything. Got it. And then we iterate and we scale because again we want to be something like Apple. Right, they design the hardware and they design the software. Got it. So we want to design the building and we want to even be there in helping people to operate it. Okay. So somebody wants to book a meeting room in the co-working space down there, they should be able to do it using that, because if not, imagine the challenges. You go there, somebody else is using, then how do you plan? Absolutely. Yeah. So you have to give a technology layer which will greatly add convenience. Correct. Not just again at utilities. See, today there are billing softwares for how much water you used, I would say what electricity you used. This is old story. Correct. The next story is this. Yeah. Can you book your shuttle court and go? Can you book your meeting room in the co-working place? Can you book a desk in the co-working space? Correct. Right? Can you book an appointment with the doctor? Another feature what we realized is these days, in the modern lifestyles, people have very little time to probably go see a doctor. Correct. So we are giving a dedicated medical office in all our latest communities like Loft and Spectra has it, where we are tying up with one of the major hospital chain in the city. We are almost at the verge of cracking the deal, and they'll be sending doctors on rotation. Right, so if there's any problem, you just go to the doctor in the community. So convenience. So ease of living is what I think is the key metric what we're chasing. And in that, technology plays a vital role. Absolutely. So how do you connect the doctor and the customer? Right, you need to be able to book the doctor's appointment through the app. If not, then somebody goes there, somebody is busy, people end up waiting. Correct. We don't want that.
Yeah. So Ashish, one more point. Coming to the FSI, so there is no limit as such. Correct. In this particular areas of Neopolis or Gachibowli or most on the west side or most of Hyderabad. Correct. So do you really recommend that?
No, not at all, Murli. I think the Hyderabad's biggest advantage is free FSI. Let me again iterate. Hyderabad's biggest advantage is free FSI. And let me cite my observations why I think so. See, low FSI means more dispersed development. Right? Let's say now Hyderabad we can build 8 or 9 FSI, so we can go up to 40 floors. And like, if there's low FSI, let's say we can only build three times the FSI, then it's around, we can only do around 8 floors or 10 floors, so we achieve the entire FSI. So by lower FSI, you're going to have a more dispersed development. By more dispersed development, you think from a municipality standpoint, right? They have to maintain more roads, so it's going to cost the public more. They have to maintain more sewage lines. It's going to cost the public more, and at the same time, imagine the services. Like for example, in let's say let me take example of our project called Spire. Right, there are 400 apartments in that, and though I know a lot of our customers are in the around 35s, there's a good there are crash users. We are unable to give a crash there. Why? Because the crash service provider will not say, boss, 400 people are only there. My client base is only 400. I cannot serve. So for that community, the entire crash service only doesn't lie, right? So what people don't realize is high density reduces the cost of services. Low density mein services se undakapovachu chala sarlu. Like for example, in one of our projects, Spectra, the supermarket is being handled by Ratnadeep, who's one of the popular supermarket chains, so you can be rest assured that the quality is going to be good.
Correct.
Right? In smaller communities where we have 300 flats, people like Ratnadeep and all, they don't come and operate. Correct. Why? Because the market is too small. So what people don't realize, if the FSI is low, right? If the FSI is low, then such services which are very essential for our day-to-day living are not going to happen. I'll point other thing also. When people say, okay, boss, high FSI is going to lead to high traffic. Right? Bangalore has around, if I'm not wrong, around 3.5 FSI.
Correct.
Hyderabad has free FSI, so most people are building around 8. Now you tell me, is Bangalore known for, is Bangalore worse off in traffic or in Hyderabad worse off traffic? You
Obviously
tell me.
Bangalore.
Right? So this
horrible life.
Horrible life. So everybody who say one of the biggest problem with Bangalore is traffic.
Yeah.
Hyderabad, that's not the case. See, what happens is when it's too dispersed, people have to travel from one corner to other corner.
Correct.
Like you see for Amtenduku, you see financial district, most of the people working in the IT workforce also, they're traveling from different corners of the city.
Correct.
So you further, lead to dispersed development. City is going to go farther and farther and farther. And let me cite one very interesting data point. I read a book called Happy Cities by Charles Montgomery. They did a quantitative survey, where post-survey they determined that in the US, right, after traveling after one commutes more than 45 minutes per day for work, for every 15 minutes increase in commute time, there is around 19% increase in divorce rates. These are all tangible problems, and I would recommend a lot of your viewers to probably look at that city, look at that book, Happy City, Ani. It's a wonderful book. I mean, that changed my opinion on this entire high density, low density, everything. See, high density, definitely one has to plan better. Okay, how many open spaces, how many amenity space I need to plan, that needs to be done better, right? But high density is the only sustainable format of living in the future. Like for example, let me give another example. In the US, the US federal government spends $1.4 trillion per year just maintaining their roads. $1.4 trillion just for maintenance bill ante meer alochinchanడి. Right, $1.4 trillion is 1/3 of our GDP.
Absolutely.
Right, they just spend on maintenance. And many cities are going bankrupt because they are unable to maintain their roads, flyovers and this infrastructure. Why? They are spread out too much. On the contrary, you look at something like Singapore or Tokyo, very high density living, right? The city municipality is running well, the services are much better. So low density living has a lot of problems, both from a utilitarian standpoint, matlab, customers will not be having several services because for the business service provider there isn't enough market to cater to, so thereby increasing the more difficulty in consumers lifestyle. Just I have given an example in the case of a crash, right? And there are a lot of theories of lately where global researchers are pointing that low density living has even a lot of mental health issues. I'll give another very interesting data point. So in Canada they did a research where they went and asked people, boss, if your wallet falls down from your pocket, right, how likely do you think your stranger, your neighbor is going to come and give it to you? People told, generally we think neighbors are not so good, right? So, so people told it's 25%. So they said that if my wallet falls down on the street, there's a 25% chances that my neighbor is going to pick it and give it to me.
Okay.
That's what was people's expectation.
Okay.
They actually did the experiment on a 100 or 200 sample size. You know what was the figure? 83%.
Wow.
So when the wallet fell down, really 83% of the times the neighbor or nearby, the neighborhood people came back and gave it to you.
Wow.
So intrinsically we think, see, when we don't meet people that much,
Correct.
we intrinsically think they are not so good. We have an element of strangeness to them. So low density means less people per square, per acre of land or per certain proportion of land. So less number of people, less number will be the interactions as well.
Correct.
So socially and even from a utilitarian standpoint, mentally, high density is the only way going forward. Right? Let's say now you only tell me if there a place where there are, let's say, 10,000 apartments versus place there are 1,000 apartments. Who are going to have more services like a school and all? Why will a school come and put in a place where there are 1,000 apartments? And then what's going to happen to the people where there are 1,000 apartments? They have to send their kids to the area where there are 10,000 apartments because the school is good there. And because they're sending their kids that far, the bus, the car, all of them are existing.
Correct.
Right? So, and see, another problem with traffic. So world over, very, very interesting data points, right? The one very big thing with, so the more you try to solve traffic problem, the worse it gets. So traffic is one exam where it's better you go unprepared. Okay. You'll pass. The more you prepare, you'll fail. Let me give an example. Like for example, let's take Manasitla, let's take the example of Jubilee's check post.
Correct.
Right, off lately, I think 2-3 months back or 3-4 months back, they set up all this one-way system.
Correct.
Before there's a lot of traffic jam, they set up this. After the first 1 week of teething period when they settled, the traffic was very smooth flowing. Everybody were very happy. Now you see it's much worse than what it was before.
Absolutely.
Why? The minute I put in my Google map, it's pointing me towards checkpost because it's faster. It's doing the same thing for everybody.
Correct.
So the traffic is going to go up. So the best way to tackle the traffic problem is by having services close so that we become more walkable. More is the walkability, less is the chance for the car to come onto the road itself.
Correct.
So that's how we need to plan. So low density is going to greatly reduce the cost, greatly reduce the ease of living, greatly increase the cost of living.
So how can we make Hyderabad as a global city, according to you?
So Murli, I think first to make anything, first to make anything a global city, first most needed thing is aspiration.
Correct.
And I think we Hyderabadis have got it. Everybody, like these days when I go to various property exhibitions or industry seminars, or people from the government talking, everybody are talking about Hyderabad global, how it can be a global city. There's a lot of aspiration and that want is there. So next thing is we need to identify the stakeholders, right? The stakeholders for making Hyderabad a global city is first and foremost the government and then the private sector, that is the developers. So Murli, I think first of all, the most important thing required is aspiration.
Correct.
Right? I think we Hyderabadis have got the aspiration and today there is a good imagination in people's mind where the question is coming up in the first place. Correct. Because the question is coming up because people see that, okay, there is potential, right? So we Hyderabadis want to be seen as one of the top global city, right? Correct. Offering unparalleled lifestyle services. So
according to you, to become Hyderabad as a global city, what are the parameters that it has to go through?
So firstly, Murli, I feel the citizens need to have aspiration. Right? The very fact that you're asking that question, I see, and I see this question repeating in various conferences, various industry seminars, various trade fairs, various customers discussions also. So definitely the aspiration is now there. People, how to become a global city and how X city is doing, Y city is doing, that aspiration is there. Next most important thing is the stakeholder identification, which in our case, the government, the builders community, and the citizens, right? So one needs to identify, all the various pain points and aspirations of the stakeholders and create an ecosystem. Okay. Let me identify a few points, like from a government standpoint, how we can do. Like for example, I feel mixed use zoning will be a very, very critical feature in that direction. Like for example, you see any major city like Vancouver, New York, or Singapore, there's mixed use zoning. Matlab in the same building, in the bottom 3 floors, there's sort of a mall, okay. And then there is some sort of another office spaces or something, and then there's residential space. So imagine the ease of living in that. right? You're going to buy stuff there, you're going to work there, you're going to live there, and there are a lot of restaurants there. The vibe gets better. So mixed use zoning, I feel, will greatly enhance the livability quotient and the planning quotient. Today, mixed use zoning currently lies predominantly in the commercial segment. We want it, we need it even in the residential zoning. Right, even in like a gated community, let's say we have zoning for all these spaces. Like we can't do retail space inside a residential space. So mixed use zoning will greatly enhance. Another key thing which the government has done a very wonderful job is with the cycling track, which you're seeing along ORR, right?
Correct.
So somebody now can stay in Kollur and work in financial district. He can simply use a cycle. It's 14 kilometers, so they can just cycle in like 10-15 minutes, right? And it has solar panels, so it's going to provide shade as well. So there you're reducing the traffic. The car doesn't come onto the street.
Correct.
So cyclability is one thing. And any city which wants to offer global lifestyle, one of the key element is walkability.
Yeah.
Today, walkability is single-handedly one of the most needed trait. So definitely, we should move in that direction, where I feel there's still a lot more room is there, where probably like, I feel some of our design norms from the municipality can change, where we have more bigger footpaths. You see that the problem where our city is lacking is we have very small footpaths.
Correct.
And unload chettu untadi, right, where people can't walk through, or if not the tree, it's encroached by a tea stall or something, where again there's no. So and that even poses a great safety risk also. So I think we need to have better pedestrian safety and pedestrian infrastructure. That will pave the way for us to become a global city. And next, any city which has ambition to be a global city needs to have a very robust infrastructure for F&B sector. See, F&B is single-handedly one of the biggest sector which really adds to a consumer's lifestyle.
Correct.
Right, so we need more restaurants, we need more such infrastructure. So probably then there can be some sort of something like how the government has established a T-hub for several startup companies. Maybe at a city scale we can have something like a restaurant aggregator, where we nurture talent from the food and beverage industry and connect capital providers to the capital needed people and do some things like that. So more would be the F&B. There would be better, it'll add to the lifestyle quotient. And then, we need to really pave and create an ecosystem for the small businesses. See, more are the small businesses, more are the services. Correct. More are the services, more is the ease of living.
Correct.
Right, and so that's how I think it is, and all of us have a role to play. Right, as developers, there's major thing that we need to provide spaces for this, and we need to provide not just provide space, provide a functional space. Correct. Right, what does a restaurant need, what does a creche need, what does a gym need, several such things. So I think all citizens need to come over. In fact, we are even mulling an idea where why don't we have an annual conference where luminaries from the luminary citizens, government and industry can come and discuss ideas. Correct. Because if I'm all the major cities, be it Vancouver, like Vancouver is one of a great urban study, right, the entire design of the city, or Singapore, in all of the cities there were constant discussions with the stakeholders, right, so at everybody's needs, requirements and problems were addressed to some level, whatever level they can be addressed for, right? So all of that is very, like, off lately I'm seeing in financial district areas like the pet related infrastructure.
Wow.
Right, very, very important.
Yeah.
Right, it can be as simple as a dog park where the dogs can probably relieve themselves, to a big enough park where they can play. So that's a very vital. I mean, like for example, Singapore and New York, like you said, there's a lot of pet related infrastructure.
Correct.
So there's a lot of things like that. But I think the aspiration is there. And from a developer community, I would say the market is there. From the government side, clearly the intention is greatly there. We have seen in the transportation infrastructure they have created, and all the civic amenities like cycling track and all. So now it's I think what's remaining is a flashpoint where all these stakeholders can get into one platform and discuss ideas. Okay. Hopefully, I wish ASBL can become that flashpoint.
Wow, nice. So what's your dream project in the real estate that you are planning to do in future?
So Murli, I'm just 33 years old, so I would say I'm fairly young in my career. I still have a lot more journey to go before I have a dream project. But definitely, see, I would love to do, probably by the time I retire, I would love to do a city scale or a neighborhood scale development.
Wow.
where where at least 500 to 1000 acres, and we build a walkable city, where we're not just attempting it from a point of view of utility, ease of living, but even from mental aspect, that the livability should be way better, like parks, F&B places, like the citizens living in that should be way happier. So I would say building a happy city. I'm really inspired by the book also. Building a happy city would be my dream, but I think I'm at least 30 years away.
So do you see comparative, if you look at Pune, so there is a Magarbata and that kind of
Correct.
smart townships.
Correct.
So do you foresee those kind of townships in Hyderabad also?
I do actually, and I'll say 2-3 reasons for that. One, the developer industry is becoming mature now. And see, if you are executing any such large-scale development, you need to have a large-scale developer and you need to have a large-scale balance sheet.
Correct.
I can't be a small developer developing 100-acre campus, right? It doesn't work out.
Correct.
So now there are at least, I would say, 5 to 7 developers here who have got the balance sheet to execute such scale projects.
Correct.
Right? And I do, when I speak with most of them, there is a good intent. So I think maybe we are just, I would say 3 to 5 years away before, somebody or the other starts coming up with such initiative. So we've got the industry, we've got the business, we've got the appetite from consumers. It's just a matter of time when it's going to happen. And recently, if I'm not wrong, during the pandemic time, 21 or something, the government even came up with one such geo, encouraging, satellite townships.
Wow.
So I'm not very well versed with that geo, but it did come up in 2021 or 22 something.
Okay.
So that does give great advantages if somebody takes up such scale projects. Okay. So it's just matter of time, I would say. Okay. And it would be lovely for Hyderabad to have satellite townships.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I think recently have launched a project called Loft, I guess, right? So could you give us more details about that project?
So Loft is a exclusive 3 BHK community, Murli, and it's in Financial District.
Okay.
That's been our home market, if I may put it.
Absolutely.
Most of our projects are in that area, so it's like home ground for us. So Loft, it has around 900 flats, and it's exclusive 3 BHK community. And usme we are doing 1700 and 1900 square foot sizes. Okay. So we really wanted to tackle the working professionals' need. See, another key problem what we wanted to address through Loft was that Financial District was becoming more and more moving towards luxury segment housing, like 4,000 square feet, 5,000 square feet, where the entry cost itself is around 4 to 5 crores. So we wanted to reduce the barriers of entry to the Financial District. Okay. So Loft may plus mila ke everything is going to cost you around 1.5 to 1.6 crores.
Okay.
Right. So we reduce the barriers of entry from 4.5 crore to 1.6 crore. So we're making it more, affordable in that line. So affordability doesn't just lie in the price of square footage itself. It even lies in the size. Right, like let's say I'm building a 4,000 square feet, then it's only 4 crore affordable. It's only 4 crore versus now 1.6 crore. Correct. So that way we really want to give an entry to the working professional in Financial District. So that's the I would say the business idea behind Loft. And from a product research standpoint, it's got all the state of the art amenities, and I would say much beyond that. Okay. Right, like it's got like a 5,000 square feet of co-working space with 4 dedicated meeting rooms and close to 50 odd workstations.
I guess this is the first of its kind.
Absolutely.
In Hyderabad.
Absolutely. And our customers are also really thrilled because of this. So it gives us good validation.
Yeah.
And again, it's got our key selling point, the outdoor living inspired floor plans. And again, from our past projects to this one, Loft, we really wanted to focus on the arrival experience. So some of the best projects world over, and like when we, they focus a lot on arrival experience. So how does one feel when they are entering the project? Correct. Right? So we have multiple double height lobbies, like a plush hotel style, like 5-star hotel style lobbies with flower bouquets and everything. So that's how we have envisioned Loft, and so far we have got good reception and good feedback from customers. So I'm hoping that continues. Right, so that's about Loft. So we are planning to hand over it in around 26 June. Around 26 December.
Got it.
26 December is when we're planning to hand over.
So is the construction in progress now?
Yes, it's in full swing. Recently we got RERA around a week back.
Okay.
So far we are done with excavation, and the other day we started concreting works. Okay. So probably in around 3.5 years we should be wrapping it up.
Wow, fantastic.
Great.
I think I'm hearing some buzzing word like ROTC in your floor.
Yes.
So I would like to know what is all about ROTC.
So ROTC is called Reality of Tomorrow Conference, Murli. So ROTC is a digital platform where we do product launches.
Okay.
So using the ROTC platform, we invite customers from all over the world, and because it's a digital thing, people can join in through the Zoom link.
Okay.
And where I'll be presenting the entire product design of Loft. So where we feel like our customers should know why did we come up with such design, right? What is the thesis behind it?
Got it.
Right. So we'll be doing a product based, a design based presentation there, and people can ask me questions live. And all of this is live, so people can ask me questions live, and I am there to answer. And we are conducting the third ROTC. So we've been doing this every year now, almost for the last 3 years. We are conducting this on the 17th Sunday night.
Okay.
8 p.m. So people from all across the world will be joining. So I'm really looking forward for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajitesh, for your valuable time today.
Thank you so much, Murli. I mean, it was pleasure interacting with you.
Yeah.
And it was really fun chatting. And very wonderful questions you have asked, and hopefully I've answered in a right manner.
Absolutely. So it was definitely worthwhile watching, hearing from you.
Thank you
such
so
valuable inputs.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for such content because it really gives a perspective to the customers as well and the citizens out there as well, like how the entire development business works.
Correct.
And how people think and everything. So I'm really looking forward to engage on various more such content with you.
Absolutely. It's a
Thank you so
pleasure for
much.
us.
Thank
you.
Thank you.